So Season 3's first official reveal happened today, and with it, it showcased the new reveal of Rebirth Island's return, featuring some new and returning features. I'd say more returning than new, though there are a few changes that have been seen that may hit or miss depending on who you ask, and there's some key details you need to know about them. So today we're breaking down this reveal and everything that you need to know and what you may have missed along the way. So drop your thoughts down below, drop a like if you enjoy the video, or if you're looking forward to Season 3 and Rebirth's return at all, and of course make sure to subscribe for more Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone Season 3 coverage, as well as a bunch of other FPS content upcoming. I'd love to have it in the community, but for now, let's take a look at Rebirth Island's reveal. So for the sake of copyright, we won't have the straight up trailer showcase here in this video. Pretty sure the cover used is copyrighted, but instead we'll just dive right into the breakdown of the trailer. In the background, most of this trailer is probably already played at this point, but if you'd like to see the full original thing unedited, I'll drop a link down there in the description below to the original trailer on the COD channel. But anyways, let's talk about what you need to know here out of this. Of course, you see all your normal stuff in regards to like new uniforms, new blueprints at some points and stuff like that. But the big things, of course, come down to Rebirth Island as a whole. The biggest stuff that was initially mentioned here and was kind of a little bit of some early on controversy were actual map changes to Rebirth Island that we've seen. Now, we do see, of course, that like Stronghold, that addition added in with Vanguard's Rebirth Reinforced, that's still there. That's not anything that was up on the controversy block or anything like that. Same thing with the two ships on the side of the island, but instead it came down to a hole in prison block and also changes to the lighthouse building, but we'll get there in a second. Firstly, the hole in prison block was interesting because it was there in the infill sequence of the trailer, but in the image that we got yesterday, it wasn't there. So a lot of people were like, well, what's going on here? Is this a bait and switch type of thing? But then we also see that earlier in that infill sequence again for the trailer, the lighthouse is there. But then later on in the trailer, as it progresses, the lighthouse gets destroyed. And there's also at some point where you see a vehicle driving off the top of that lighthouse building and you see the remains of that fallen structure as a ramp up the side of prison. Now, this was actually confirmed to be something that is a bit new for the franchise and for Warzone to some capacity. But Raven clarified by tweeting, "We see your questions about the hashtag Rebirth Day trailer. At the launch of Season 3, we're reintroducing Rebirth Island to Warzone. While a number of gameplay updates and visual polishes have been made, this version of Rebirth Island stays true to the original experience our players know and love. Later into the season, players will have the rare chance to encounter infill strikes. These are a set of dynamic events that will alter one of 3 possible POIs at random at the very start of a match. While the majority of matches will remain unaffected, these strikes provide a rare yet unique spin to the rotation and traversal opportunities. For more information on infill strikes, keep an eye out for the announcement blog and patch notes coming next week. Big thanks to our talented friends at Beanox for their incredible work on this beloved experience." So the initial reactions for both are actually both correct, where people were like, well, they changed everything. And then also people like, no, they didn't. As strange as that sounds, they're actually both right. I think that number one, this should alleviate some of that initial reactionary L spam perhaps, but also I honestly kind of think this is pretty cool to have even more variability in the game experience. Not necessarily gunfights, but like the gameplay as a singular story perhaps with that. Like the one big sell of battle royales when they were getting big, the same thing with extraction shooters now is that no one game would be identical. No one game would be the same. There's variables that you'll encounter every game like drop location, loot available, zone pull and rotations, and all that kind of stuff, that adding another layer to this as a rare in-game event is actually pretty cool to see. Now, we did of course see that this isn't going to be something like it all happens at once where you have the lighthouse and the hole in the rooftop happen all at one go, but we do know that there's going to be 3 of those now on rotation, the lighthouse being one, the hole in prison block being another, and the third being an unknown one at this point. Now, will these be as rare as the NVG Gulag, which I've never once experienced since launch and has subsequently been taken out since then? I mean, who knows if my luck is that crazy again or not, but right now I wouldn't worry about those changes too much. We also know that through this trailer, we're going to have water, play, and vehicles. You can see around the map, there is some new edge of water terrain like rock formations to help you quickly get up out of the water, but then also be able to mantle over some of those cliff sides or those walls that would otherwise drop right into the water. And also, this alleviates that ability that if you get stuck on terrain and fall, you're not going to die immediately if you touch that water. So honestly, I'm okay with that. I think that especially with the default switch to have a pistol as a weapon in the water all the time, I don't don't think water plays all that big a deal as much as it used to be, so I'm fine with that one. The vehicles, of course, like the TAV, are introduced as well, that you're going to be able to traverse both land and sea, plus the standard vehicles like your helicopters, your ATVs and such. But beyond that, we see some minor points of interest changes, like the Coney outpost near the generators, and chemical engineering is outfitted with either solar panels or like glass ceilings here at that we see as well. We also saw throughout the trailer some additional teasers. The Moore sniper was seen at the very end there, and it also seems like by the look of this teaser trailer and reveal that it's going to be a more Coney themed season than anything else. We have Makarov skin finally coming, which is I think the first one since the Vault edition with the launch of the game, so that'll be cool to see that coming back as well. We also saw the bunkers for a freeze frame or two, so bring on those Easter eggs. Looking forward to jumping back into those and providing some guides for that. Had a blast with the Rebirth reinforced stuff, but anyways, that is the stuff that you saw out of this trailer. Again, not a whole ton because it's just a basic reveal trailer, but still I think enough to give you a basic grasp on what is going to be coming. My overall thoughts here on this, honestly, I figured we'd see some changes, that it wouldn't be getting a one-to-one port of Rebirth, but I'm pleasantly surprised by the idea of this dynamic map here. Again, whether or not it plays well, that's for time to tell, but right now, personally, I think it's a little too early to be spamming L everywhere or something like that, but maybe that could just be me. Frankly, myself, I am going to wait until I can play it to make any sort of judgment. Really enjoyed playing on Fortune's Keep despite those map changes that actually had a difference in the gameplay flow. This on Rebirth is seemingly minor by comparison, and again, when you chalk it up to being a random event that's rare, I'm not really too bothered by this on paper, but we'll see in time. I am personally looking forward to playing with the map in that stronghold in the mix again as well. I'm glad that that's returning. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I feel like that added a decent bit to the flow of the map in the game when it was added in the Vanguard year of support. And big picture, I'm honestly just stoked to have Rebirth again. Like, I love new stuff, absolutely, but I think there's something to be said for the classics. Like, you saw how many people didn't want Warzone 2 to launch without Rebirth Island, so it's nice to see this now returning soon here. Now, beyond that, I'd expect a full reveal of Season 3 upcoming tomorrow, probably with the coverage. If we don't see a full reveal on that week out mark, that might be something we see on Monday then at that point, but probably still teasers leading up to this at some point. I mean, this is a big season here just based off the fact that they're marketing Rebirth Island to come back. So we'll see what all is included, but keep an eye out. Of course, if there is anything, we'll keep you covered here on the channel that you can come back to. But the final thing I want to touch on before we wrap this video up is one thing I want you guys to be aware of. We put up a short on it earlier in the day, but want to just mention it here as well. For Season 3 and the hashtag Rebirth Day, as they're calling it, you can end up getting a free WSP Swarm blueprint called the Caked Up Blueprint by taking part in a marketing campaign over on Twitter, or I guess it's called X now at this point. But all you have to do is go over to either the original tweet that announced this and reply to it, or you can even just do it as a regular tweet, not interacting with that, where you have to tweet the hashtag Rebirth Day and your Activision ID, which is not your BNet, PlayStation, or Xbox ID, but instead the in-game ID that can be found in your menus when you have the ability to see that progression, edit your showcase, your calling card, and more. But all you have to do is simply tweet that ID along with hashtag Rebirth Day, and you should be credited with that blueprint. An automated Call of Duty like bot reply comes back. It's the official account, but it's just something that's an automated reply to that, and you should be granted the blueprint upon Season 3's launch. Not before, but on launch. So just to reiterate, you won't be credited with it as of today, tomorrow, anytime leading up until next Wednesday, but at Season 3's launch is when you should see it. But anyways, that is the Season 3 reveal here for Rebirth Island and everything that we know of changed, and some other stuff you can find in there as well. So that's going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down below. What do you guys think here of this return of Rebirth? Are you guys looking forward to jumping back in? Going to bring out the Rebirth demon energy again? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, Season 3 coverage leading up to and beyond, as well as other FPS content. I'd love to have in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name's Ben Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.